Hello, boils and ghouls, and everyone creepy in between. This is another episode of the Average Ghost Mom podcast. Okay, you guys. I have some things I'm going to talk about today, and I know I'm going to be late for the things. As far as when this episode comes out, compared to when these things are happening. Um, Sorry. That's just how the episodes fell, honestly. I have a pattern on how I do them now, so that way I can stay kind of organized in how I do things and when I put out certain kinds of episodes. And this is just when this one fell. So my bad. Today I'm going to be talking about the November full moon, which happened on November 5th, and I'm also going to be talking about Dia de los Muertos, which happened at the end of October and the very first 2 or 3 days of November. So, yeah, this comes out November 9th. I'm late. I'm sorry, guys. It's just how it fell this time. But now you have this information for next year. I'm gonna start off with the full moon. So I'm just ready to jump right on in. At the time of when I'm recording this, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do something for Dia de los Muertos. I know it's a Hispanic holiday, or Spanish holiday. Is Hispanic and Spanish different? That's something I should know. I'm very uncultured right now, and that's my own doing. I take full responsibility for my unculturalism. I want to do something. I have not been able to find marigolds in the store. I checked Michael's. No. Well, okay. They have wreaths. They don't have just marigolds, like individual marigolds. Because, like, I want to put some marigolds on the. It's kind of like a shrine, but not. You know what? I should just wait before talking about all of this. I need to stay on track. And I said I'm going to talk about the full moon. And so that's what I'm going to do first. And then I'll go into Dia de los Muertos, also known as Day of the Dead. Okay, so the November full moon is also known as the beaver moon, and it happened on November 5th. This full moon kind of represents protection, releasing, cleansing, empathy, transformation, and preparation. Um, and this is the second to last month of the calendar year, of the Gregorian calendar year, right? So we're protecting ourselves to make it through winter. We're releasing all of it's time to start releasing things in the sense of, okay, throughout the year we have had to plan and gather, and then we celebrate, and now we're on like the end. And so it's time to let go of the things we don't need anymore so we can take on new things, right? Um, you've heard of spring cleaning? Well, you should also do fall cleaning as well, so that way you're not all kept up over the winter season with so much extra crap and stuff, especially because like calendar time, we're about to have, I mean, we just had we just had Halloween, so we got a little, we're all full of that candy and the sweets and whatever. We're about to be having Thanksgiving. So it's a great time to kind of clean out your closet, get rid of some stuff, because next up is Christmas afterwards. And that's a fantastic time of giving. So theoretically speaking, you're going to be giving stuff and getting stuff. So why not open up and release the space in your house physically to receive the things that you're going to physically get, but also mentally? Like, it's time to reflect on, you know, what have we done this year? What has happened? What are things that I am thankful for? What are things that I'm glad? Like, where am I with certain projects? What do I need to kind of wrap up and finish so next year I can start on new things? Um So during this time, we see trees are losing their leaves and birds are flying south. So that's kind of in the transformation part of like, it's a time of transformation, it's a time of shifting, it's a time of change. The nights are longer and they're colder, and at this time, beavers and other animals are making preparation for the winter time. Um, this is a time to kind of bundle up and relax. So you want to surround yourself with, comfort and things to help you sustain. So this is the time of the year we're starting to get into that slumberish time. Because, animals go into hibernation. They spend spring waking up, summer getting the food, fall finishing the food, so that way they can make it through hibernation in the winter, which is kind of like what we need to do. We need to, okay, we had all of our good times in spring. We had all the fun in the fall. We had all our good remembrance and thankfulness in the fall. Did I just say fall twice? We had fun in the summer, and we're kind of cooling it back down for fall. So now's the time where we need to kind of just rest, not do too much, which is funny because this is probably one of the most busiest time for people because of it's the burn months. Boom, boom, boom. One, two, three. Kind of four, if you think about it. We have Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, you know. I know Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's is like a super busy time for people, but this is also equally like, okay, anything else that's kind of been happening that's, crazy, ramped up in your life, let's put it on the back burner. Let's focus on our time to be thankful, how we're going to reflect on that, how we're going to show that to people that we're thankful for them and for everything they've done for us. Same with Christmas. Thanksgiving and Christmas kind of go hand in hand, and spending time with family, spending time with loved ones if you can. That's why we have Dia de los Muertos in November, because not only is that the veil is the thinnest, but it's also a time to remember the family that has passed, who can't be with us anymore. Because also, when the days are shorter and the nights are longer, does anybody ever notice that their biological clock kind of goes with that? Because, of course, it's the start of seasonal depression. There's less sunlight. Our bodies just kind of, you know? But then also, do you notice that you kind of get tired or exhausted sooner in the day? Like, 6 o'clock, it's about to be looking like midnight, and you're gonna be like, I know I gotta cook dinner, but I'm ready for bed. Your body kind of naturally goes into that that not hibernation period, but it's kind of comparable to hibernating. It's ready to let's go to bed sooner, let's sleep in a little bit, let's do less work because it's just nature working its thing. Um, So it's also not only a time to reflect on what you've done this year and be appreciative for everything, it's also start thinking about it in the releasing process of releasing from you what you don't need anymore. It's also time to start considering releasing this to replace it with what? Do have a good grace period where you just get to relax. You don't have to worry about doing all this stuff. You don't have to worry about preparing all this stuff. Honestly, if you could just get Thanksgiving and Christmas out of the way as far as preparation, then you have like all of December to just chill. And then you don't have to think about anything or prepare anything. It's already done, it's already prepped. You just have to execute when it's time to execute it. But release what you need to release so you can take on what's coming because the new year it's around the corner. People are all about their New Year's resolutions. I know I've talked about mine, and I don't really quite see it as a New Year resolution. I'm not going to be starting all my things all at the beginning of the year. I'm going to be making a plan. Okay, this month is when I start this, but like it's going to start in January. It's going to go for the whole year. But start on one thing at a time. So January, I give myself 30, 31 days to work on this one thing, to really focus on this one thing, to get good, to get better. And then when February comes, I'm going to add on something. And okay, I'm going to work at this. I'm going to be better than last year, you know? And then March, I'm going to add on a third thing. So I'll be working on three things. So by the time I add on a new thing, hopefully the first one, two, three, four things I've had a whole month to work on them, you know? So that's my goal. That's what I'm going to be. That's how I'm going to be tackling my New Year's resolutions. It's like I am going to work on myself in ways how that I want to work on, and I'm not just going to pile it all on the first of the year and say, "Oh, these 10 things, I'm going to do them," you know? And actually, it's even better to start a couple months at the end of the previous year, like starting in September or October or November or December. So that way you can practice these things and quote, have your oops days or have your skip days, get them all out of the way now. So when the New Year's comes, you can feel like you're more successful because oh, I'm doing so good, I want to keep doing good. I've already been practicing, quote, at the end of last year, and now that I feel my body and my rhythm and my schedule and my day, how this is going to go, I can continue to further how I'm going to put this into my daily routine, how I'm going to make this habit, you know? Um, so yeah, that's the November full moon, the beaver moon. It's a transitional time into chilling the heck out. You know, that's kind of the best way I can put it is you need to start to chill, which is funny because it's getting colder, but you girl, you need to chill for realsies, you know? Um, so yeah. So this next part, please do not kill me. I'm literally reading straight from Pinterest. Some of my research I get from Pinterest because I like the pictures and they have good explanations on the pictures. Um, and literally my notes would not be any different than what I'm about to read to you from Pinterest. But this is just some things on Day of the Dead, also said in Spanish as Dia de los Muertos, right? Um, So Day of the Dead, I enjoy. Okay, the reason I'm not Hispanic in the slightest, I have like no Hispanic gene in me, right? I mean, maybe I do, maybe really far back, but either way, it's not strong at all. It's not a high percentage. Girl, have you seen my skin? When I think about the sun, I get sunburnt. There's no way I'm Hispanic, right? So, but I have learned about myself that family and family heritage, family ties, family traditions, um, is very important to me. And therefore, I enjoy at least wanting to celebrate Dia de los Muertos because this is a very family oriented, like selfless, family oriented holiday that is celebrated. I think it's celebrated in Mexico, it's celebrated in Spain. So that's why I think Hispanic might be a cover term for both Mexico and Spain, where Spanish is just the Spanish people and Mexicans is just the Mexican. But I think Hispanic, well, Hispanic is Hispania. I think, I don't know. Guys, please be nice. If you're going to email me or comment, oh, don't call me a fucking idiot, please. Okay? Please be nice. Please be nicely inform me what I mean to say, and I'm just going to say Hispanic, okay? I'm sorry if that's wrong, but I'm just going to say Hispanic. It's a Hispanic tradition, okay? About celebrating the family members who have passed on, right? Um, it is a very, it is, I did a little bit of research. I always ever do a little bit of research. I never do a lot of bit of research. It's much more expansive than what I thought. One fantastic movie, if you don't know anything about Day of the Dead, is the Disney movie Coco, okay? I'm just gonna say it. Coco was a masterpiece. Now, granted, the point of Coco is not necessarily to inform you and to educate you on Day of the Dead. It's about Coco finding his dad. Um, but they give you so much information just in a short bit of time, and it's fantastic. Overall, it's a good movie, and honestly, I'm probably gonna watch it. It's probably gonna be one of the movies that I put on during the Halloween party that I'm going to throw. Um, but no, it's Dia de los Muertos I don't know, it's very important to me because celebrating and not forgetting about the family members who have passed is a big deal to me. Um, and especially for my daughter who didn't get to meet them because like my great grandparents on my dad's side and my grandmother on my dad's side, what I would give for them to get to meet my daughter. I what would you do for a Klondike bar? Yeah, literally. And then my grandfather on my mom's side, I, and honestly, what I wouldn't give to just have another day or to get to reminisce with them on memories that I don't remember, you know? Because my grandfather and my great grandparents passed before I was 16. And then, I even think before I was 13. And then my grandmother on my dad's side passed when I was, I think, like 22 or 23, about my younger 20s. And uh, I just hadn't got the opportunity to go out to back to her house after Ava was born. So she never got to meet Ava. She would have, they were alive at the same time. They could have gotten to meet, and I just didn't do it. I wasn't in a fantastic place, like mentally and theoretically financially, but it's kind of one of those things like, oh, you don't know what you got till it's gone. If I would have known, I would have done it. And that's kind of the whole thing, like you shouldn't take these days for granted with family. Like I think kind of when she passed, cuz I was an adult. I was an adult at the time when she passed. So like I understood it differently and I took it differently, and like pretty much since then I've been like, wow, like family's really big. Especially in my previous relationship when he really didn't have his family like I have my family, like, I'm still in touch. I'm not quite in touch with a lot of my family, but like I have a lot of family on Facebook, I kind of keep up with them a little bit. And he really didn't have those family to fall back on like how I had my family. And so having the lack of his family for so many years when I was in that relationship kind of also opened my eyes up to like, oh wow, like family is like really important to me. And now that I'm in this relationship that I am right now, and he basically talks to all of his family, he's got a huge family. So it's kind of like, no, this feels right. Like this is where my roots are at. Like this is what feels right because it's familiar to me, which is being in touch with all of your family, even if you're not like talking to them every day, but like you have on Facebook, you see them at big traditional holidays and stuff. You shoot them a text on their birthday or whatever. So, Day of the Dead is really important to me, even if I haven't been able to celebrate it because I can't find the things that I want to find for it. At least acknowledging it and actively thinking about the people who have passed is basically what matters. Just not forgetting them, because once you forget them, then that's when they've died. That's when, if you're the last person to remember them and you forget them and you don't pass on their stories and their legacy, that's when they've died. When they stop getting talked about, when they stop being remembered. Cuz people, in a spiritual sense, people can be immortal if they are forever talked about. If they live on in our hearts. But the minute you don't talk about someone anymore, that's when they've died. And I will not let that happen to my family. So, Dia de los Muertos, okay? This is straight from Pinterest. So thank you, Pinterest. So Dia de los Muertos it's a Mexican tradition. It's not a Spanish tradition. Hey, we are learning new things together. So something that you'll see in Coco is these elaborate altars with many different kind of like steps or levels. Um, and they have pictures and there's flowers and there's banners, there's colors, there's candles, there's food, and everything has a reason. So one thing I'm gonna start with kind of just um explaining some of the symbolism of certain things. Excuse me. And then we're gonna go into the days of Day of the Dead, and then I'll go into some symbolisms, and then I'll go into the tiers of the shrines. Um, so Day of the Dead, a lot of people, well, I can't say a lot of people, but on our American calendars, it says November 1st is Day of the Dead, which is and is not true. Because Day of the Dead is celebrated for more than just one day. Um, so it starts on October 27th, which is the day to remember your beloved pets. So that I could see, that's like the starting. Not everyone has a pet, especially when they care to remember, like a goldfish. I don't know, but like dogs and cats, horses, birds, maybe. On October 28th is, quote, turning on the first light or candle to receive souls that are alone. So this is where on this day you either turn on like a light in your house that stays on or you light the candles. And this is for the souls who have been forgotten. The souls who are alone, the ones who don't have a house to go to necessarily. So you can, like, it's like showing them you can come to our house. Like, no matter who you are, like, you're welcomed here. On October 29th is when you turn on or you light another candle and place a cup of water dedicated to any lost souls. So it's like, again, like, we're here for you no matter what. Like, no matter who you are, you can come here. On day on 30 blah, 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 on the 30th of October, light another candle and place a new cup of water. Place a piece of bread for souls that suffered an accident or left without eating food. So, again, it's for the non-familial souls, but for those who have suffered a little more. On October 31st, you light another candle and you place a new cup of water and place a piece of bread for souls that have suffered an accident or left without any. Oh, just said the same thing. Well, that is what it is. There we go. On the 1st of November is All Saints Day, or Day of All Saints, which I think you could also say All Saints Day. Um, this is the day to remember all the kids who have lost their lives. So you place out food, you place out candies and some toys, things that kids like. November 1st is celebrating past children. Um, so this is kind of like this though is probably like the main start of Day of the Dead. And then on November 2nd, oh, I don't know. November 2nd, it says, is Day of the Dead. Place bread, food, and any items that you wish to remember your loved ones by. You should also, what? What does that say? Bhutan, the copal, or incense? I think it means light. I think it means that you should light the incense. Because incense have a meaning on the altars or the shrines, whichever words you want to use. I think in this case they're kind of interchangeable. And then on November 3, light the last white candle, burn the burn the copal or incense, and say goodbye to your loved ones. So, it's kind of a long process, but November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd is kind of like the big main days of celebration for your past loved ones. Um, so we'll get into just some of the symbolism of things. So on your altars or your shrines, you always have the four elements of nature. You have water. After a long journey, spirits need water to quench their thirst. You have candles. So visiting souls are illuminated from the shadow of death by candles. Each candle represents a departed soul. Additional candles are added for forgotten souls. Um, the wind part, colorful paper called papel picado, lets loved ones know when the spirits have arrived as they move in with the wind. And those are like the colorful square banners that you see hung up with the fun designs and stuff. And then the earth element, the soul is nourished by favorite family dishes that represent the crops of the earth. Common examples are fruit, chocolate, and bread. And there is a specific bread I've learned that they put out for Day of the Dead. It's like Bread of the Dead or Day of the Dead bread or something like that. I know it's on one of these things, so I'll read about it. Um, if you're wondering what copal incense is often placed on or near Day of the Dead altars as another offertory element to draw the spirits. I have no idea what this is. It kind of looks like vertebrae, if you ask me. But it's another form of incense, I think. You can also use incense as well. Certain scents kind of help with that. So one of the decorative pieces, along with marigolds, is monarch butterflies. Day of the Dead is extra special because of the annual migration of the monarch butterflies. A true mystery of nature, these beautiful big orange butterflies return to the villages and countryside during the week of Day of the Dead. And legend has it that these also symbolize the spirits coming back for Day of the Dead to be celebrated. The flower most associated with Day of the Dead is the yellow marigold. The smell of the flower attracts the souls of the departed, drawing them back to the living. Um, which is really nice. And again, so what I was saying before is I cannot find single done marigolds. Michael's had them on a wreath, but I don't do wreaths. I want some marigolds that I can just place on my shrinular shelf. I have a shelf. It's kind of like a hutch in a way, but not. And it's a corner shelf piece. So it's a triangle, and the shelves are triangles, and it's not good for holding anything really, but it's good at holding pictures and some knickknacks. And I've decided to put family who's passed. It happens to be families who's passed pictures, and so I kind of just have that as like a year round kind of area of like, oh yeah, this is my grandma, this is my grandpa, and these are things that they liked, and these are things I remember them by. Um, and it holds a couple knickknack things, but I would like to get more kind of Dia de los Muertos themes things to go with them because it's just kind of appropriate in my opinion. One of the popular things that is associated with Day of the Dead and therefore has also become associated with Halloween because Halloween and Day of the Dead are so close together is the sugar skulls. Um, um, Sugar skulls are either bought or made by families to add to the altar, and the name of the deceased is often written in icing on the forehead. Let me see. So papel picado, or perforated paper, or pecked paper, is a decorative craft made out of paper to cut into beautiful and elaborate designs. That's those banners, the colorful banners I was talking about. One of the most powerful customs that takes place during Day of the Dead is sharing the amusing stories and memories of the deceased. Telling funny tales comes from the idea that the deceased would rather not be remembered somberly. Um, a lot of traditions, when it comes to death, tend to celebrate rather than mourn. It kind of really wasn't until like Christianity and Catholicism came around the Western side of things and kind of dictated that we're going to mourn these people, we're going to be sad. But I mean, it is very sad to not have a person, a loved one with you anymore. But these traditions, you know, these usually non-Western traditions or European traditions, they they have celebrations. And I think it's beautiful. I love that's how I when it's my time to go, I don't want like a drabby funeral. I want a celebration. I want a party. Yeah, people are gonna cry, so make sure that they supply a lot of tissues, but I want people to have good food. I want there to be good music. I want there to be laughter and good stories. And I don't want people to be like, oh, she's gone. No. Like, I want people to be like, man, like, yeah, it's gonna suck, but like, she's up there or down there, wherever she's at. I know she's cracking them up. She's putting on some good jokes. Like, that's what I hope when it's my time to go. People are like, it sucks, but wherever she's at, she's having a ball. She's She's there with her pets, sitting in front of an open window in her beanbag chair with a good book and hot chocolate, you know? That's what I want. Let me see. Altars are usually decorated with flowers, marigolds, candies, pan de muerto, which is bread of the dead, sugar skulls, and most importantly, pictures of loved ones. Food is placed on the altar. Food that is placed on the altar consists of loved ones' favorite dishes and treats, drinks, and should be placed on the altar to quench the thirst of the dead after their long journey back home. So, that is that slide, and I'll come over here to the different levels of the Dia de los Muertos altars. Um, the altar is a complex creation with incredible symbolism, as each element carries specific meaning, and here's what some of them are. So the levels. Levels, the altars can be made up of 2, 3, or 7 levels. If there's only 2 levels, generally is represented by the division between earth and sky. If it's 3 levels, it's represented between the earth, the sky, and the underworld. And 2 and 3 levels are the most common ones. If you have 7, I just lied. I read this stuff before I came to record, and I get my information mixed up thinking I know what I'm talking about, and I don't. I just need to read the script as it's written, honestly. I lied. 7 levels is the most common and relate to the 7 levels that a soul must travel before reaching heaven or hell. It also relates to the 7 deadly sins. Um, it looks like on the top shelf of this diagram that is the picture of the person. Um, and I will be 100% honest, I don't know if this is how it's supposed to go, like in this order, or if it's just these are 7 levels representing the different levels a soul must go through, but you can have, I've seen pictures on every level. I've seen candles on every level, so I think it's kind of mix and match how you want to. And this diagram just has it listed how it is for me, what I'm reading. So fire. Fire in the form of candles and torches are symbols of our love for our deceased relatives and guiding lights for their spirits. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Paper usually have papel picado or tissue paper, typically in yellow and purple, made into intricate designs. They are representation of the union between life and death. Flowers. Flowers are not just a beautiful visual addition to the altar. Yellow flowers are a guide for the spirits into the mortal world. White flowers represent the sky, while purple flowers are the traditional color of mourning in Mexico. Oh, that's cool. Incense, a chalice with incense or copal. Oh, an aromatic tree resin used in indigenous ceremonies. Ooh, interesting. It's placed on the altar. It's a way to purify the souls of the dead and ward off evil spirits. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Water. A glass of water is often placed on the altar to quench the thirst of the deceased and strengthen them for their journey. Salt. Salt is usually placed on a plate and stops the souls of the deceased from being corrupted by earthly temptations. Oh, interesting. Banquet or the food. To celebrate the arrival of your deceased loved ones, a banquet of their favorite food and drink items is placed as an offering. Typical food. As well as the deceased favorite food items, altars usually contain traditional Day of the Dead food such as pan de muerto, rice, mole, pumpkin, sugarcane, jamaica, and oranges, fruits of the season. And jamaica, I can't tell you what jamaica is. I just know I've seen the word before, so I know how to say it. You're gonna have to Google that one. I love you guys, and I know that this episode was not very well researched beforehand, but jamaica, it's a fruit of some sort, I think. I believe. Calaveras or skulls are representations of deceased relatives, made of sugar or chocolate and often consumed by kids after the celebration. They are an example of the Mexican ability to celebrate, mock, and play with the dead. So calaveras would be like the sugar skulls that they were talking about. and then a white cross. A cross is made of what? Slaked lime is drawn on the ground under the altar. It originally represented the four cardinal points of corresponding to the four elements. Now it is also a representation of the Christian cross. So that is done on the floor under your altar. Interesting. See, I love getting to do this podcast because I learn so much. And because I talk about things that I like and I'm interested in, and you guys just either listen or don't listen, uh, either way, I get to share this new stuff that I find with you, whether you knew it before or not. But see, like, just so much. I love traditions. I love learning about cultural traditions, and uh, it's just so cool. So, if I can ever find some independent marigolds, I will definitely put them on my altar. But I do need to get some monarch butterflies. I have a lot of cardinals because my grandmother is represented by a cardinal for me. Um, I need to get some dragonflies because my grandfather is represented by dragonflies for me. And I need to get a couple more pictures of my great grandparents. Um, but this is just so awesome. And another thing, if you are in a place where you can't burn real candles, you can always get electric candles, honestly. Um, Battery operated candles work perfectly fine. And I would also just suggest getting rechargeable batteries because ideally you keep these candles on the whole time that you're celebrating. So batteries are going to go out and batteries are kind of expensive. So just invest a little bit extra and oh, my knee and get some rechargeable ones, you know. But anyway, I know this episode was a little bit shorter. If you're somebody who celebrates Dia de los Muertos, if I have messed up anything in what I'm saying, please correct me. Do it nicely. Send me an email. Send me an email about what you do, your traditions, how you do it. You know, I would love to see a picture of it because although I could just Google a picture, all I've seen is Coco, you know, and then whatever was in my social studies book back in like the seventh grade, right? Um, but I would love to see and hear and know what you guys do. I want to hear your guys' opinions on this. Like, is this something that you guys would be interested in doing now that there's a little bit, you have this little bit of more of information about how it's done and whatever? Let me know. Do you guys do something similar to this at a different time? Like, do you have a tradition around Christmas or Thanksgiving where you do something for those who have passed or in remembrance of those who have passed? Do you do something for Halloween? Maybe you do something for Halloween since that's when the veil is extremely thin. Let me know. You can email me. My email is averageghostmom@gmail.com. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram. I even have a Facebook page that I'm trying to get things posted to. I'm trying to get advertising of my podcast out there, but it's girl, it's been busy. So send me a message literally anywhere. I will see it. I will respond. I'm so excited to hear from you guys and what you any stories you have to share. Also, just any stories about your loved ones in general. You know, like these funny stories that you would tell if you celebrated Dia de los Muertos. Like, what are the stories that you would tell? I would love to hear, and if you want me to read them on the podcast, I can. If not, I'm happy to just read them and just respond to you independently. So, send those to me. I'm excited to hear from you guys. I love you all, and I will talk to you later. Bye.